In today's episode, I will tell you how this album by OBONGJAYAR, Paradise Now, made me cry in a way I have never cried at music. But first, let's talk about this album in general. I'm going to do a thing which, it's Thunderground Thursday here on a Friday, and I'm trying to maybe expose you to some new music. And I hate to be simplistic, but I'm just going to go for it. If you like Little Simz, I think you'll really like OBONGJAYAR. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who sort of hates to do that. I kind of hate to do that framing device because it's sort of like what I dislike, the predictive algorithm, where your phone or whatever, your Spotify, your title, it just sort of says, oh, I know what kind of thing you like. I know what kind of person you are. And with startling accuracy, right? It's just kind of an annoying thing. I don't particularly enjoy it. But the main reason I don't enjoy it is because I remember the before times, back in the old days when things were, frankly, a lot more elitist. So perhaps I should be more in favor of the democratization of that predictive algorithm. But in my day, it was just some dude, some lady. In my case, I didn't really know any girls or women, so in my case, it was just some dude. I had 3 older brothers. They might put me onto music. They were my predictive algorithm, or a record store employee, or a DJ that I liked, or a college radio station that I liked, or hell, even a record company itself might be able to tell me, if you like this, you will like that. And I do think there's something lost. So whenever I say this, I mean it very seriously. Like let's kind of get back to that old model. Everyone calls me Unc, and that's fine. I don't mind being called an uncle, but why not call me Big Brother? Why not come and say, hey, Sky, I really like this Little Simz album. Is there anything else that would kind of like maybe scratch that itch in a way? And certainly the Little Simz album is getting lots of love. It deserves it. I reviewed it this week. But, her best collaborator on that project, remember, we don't care for what they say, that's my superpower. Remember OBONGJAYAR? He has an entire album that came out just like a couple weeks before that, and it is really, really, really good. That's right, everybody. That's the level of criticism I'm at now, saying 3 reallys and good. Don't worry, I'll explain why. Now, OBONGJAYAR is a name I don't really know how to say. I'm pronouncing it all sorts of different ways. Apparently, it's an Igbo word that means like king, Obong, and then Jayar is like a phonetic spelling of the word junior. So it's like king or God junior. I gotta say, God junior is kind of a, as you kids would say, that name goes pretty hard. His real name is Stephen Umo, so that's kind of interesting because, his stage name sounds more African and is harder to pronounce than his actual name. We'll talk more about that in a second. It's just another incredibly produced album, just astoundingly produced album. As we enter this day of uncanny valley of AI music, when there's real music made by real musicians, you really feel it. And it's made by somebody who very clearly was formed and inspired by hip-hop, but doesn't really make music that you could define as rap. Much like Little Simz, it is dark and life-affirming at the same time. He's full of wisdom, but his wisdom seems to come a lot more from recent failure. That's how this album feels. He's one singer, but he's got so many voices. So these are all the similarities, and you're probably sitting there going, come on, Sky. We know why you're comparing them. You colonialist schmuck, right? You probably just think, oh, okay, there are a couple of black folks from England. I mean, that is true, but it's actually really important to me. And this is why part of the reason why I study and why I teach French hip-hop. I really think it's important to understand what hip-hop and what rap does and what music does in terms of representation around the world and helping to dissolve the sense of what people think of when they say a nationality. America is strange because we don't really have, people try, but there is no real default ethnicity or race of Americans, no matter how hard the current administration is trying, right? But in general, if I say English, you have something that pops up into your mind. So inevitably, anything that goes against what you have in your mind. Did you think of Prince Charles? I did. I just think of Prince Charles. When I hear somebody is British, I think of that guy. Or is he king now? What's he, King Charles? King Charles Spaniel? I don't know. I don't care. I'm sorry. I actively disrespect the monarchy. All monarchies. especially the American one. All right. So, so it is interesting. It is interesting to have the similarity, to have within a month two artists in England of Nigerian background, a former English colony, releasing music. Now, lumping them together itself is a very colonial idea. Just their heritage is all from Nigeria, but Simz is of Yoruba origin, and OBONGJAYAR is from Igbo. And also, Simz was born in Islington, which is not in Nigeria. I checked; it's in England. And OBONGJAYAR actually moved when he was 17, and he's from the Calabar region of Nigeria. But what it really reminds me of, and why I think it's so important, is that just to have this 1-2 punch of the reminder that the world apparently needs to know the richness of immigration, how much it enriches the world. Not the people who come over, them too, sure. Human beings deserve dignity, respect, and certainly England owes. It would be impossible for England to ever fully pay back the people of Nigeria for what it took from them. But still, if they can make a happy home in England, that's great, right? But like in general, our conception, it just doesn't change. Our conception doesn't change because of systemic racism. And really, there's only two areas where that can kind of pop up. There's only kind of two areas where that kind of understanding that can challenge how we think of the relationship between ethnicity and nationality, and that's in music and sports. Music and sports, which fundamentally end up becoming as egalitarian as it can be. Because you're never going to go to a British tourist shop and buy a T-shirt and have it be of the king and queen and a beefeater and have them not be people who are roughly my skin tone, which is to say paper, okay? Which is to say sunburned in a snowstorm, okay? But that's what's great about sports and music is it helps to force the world to see the richness of immigration in a tangible way. Now, it shouldn't be this way, okay? It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be that someone has to succeed at such an amazing high level doing something absolutely incredible on such a consistent basis to be treated with humanity. But unfortunately, that's where we're starting. So I don't know. I watch a lot of soccer, as you in England call it, association football. So that's another funny thing. When we're thinking about these artists, because when for me, I see OBONGJAYAR, and I don't see him as a Nigerian singer. I see him as an English singer because he makes music in England. But there's like a whole thing with sports too. Like all this same richness that comes is in sports as well. So the Nigerian football team is very good. The Super Eagles, they got Victor Osimhen when he's not banned from playing on the team. I don't know. I don't really understand what's happening there. But you have a lot of players, like one of the best players in England, probably the best English player in England is Bukayo Saka, who's a guy of Nigerian descent. And so, what does that mean? If you are from England and you wake up in the morning and your favorite team might be Arsenal. If it is, I'm sorry. Tough life. I saw a game at the old stadium back in 2000. Henry wasn't playing. I don't know why. I was kind of disappointed. But like that's like this symbol, like the great player. There he is, the best English player playing in England is of this reminder that Englishness is not one color. And even the goofiest way, if you're an American and you want to hear what I'm saying, you want to kind of follow, you want to follow along with me. Maybe you don't like soccer. Maybe you just like Ted Lasso. But what I love about Ted Lasso is they have a character there, Sam Obisanya, who is supposed to be Nigerian living in England. So basically moving from Nigeria to England in order to work and make his life, like OBONGJAYAR. But the reality is, the actor is played by a guy named Toheeb Jimo, whose family, much like Little Simz, moved, and he's first generation. So I don't know. I think that's fun. I think it's fun that one actor and that one character shows these two different ways of being either an immigrant or first generation immigrant from a former English colony in England and proving in a way that is irrefutable the richness of immigration. And not for nothing, but hey, like America, you might sense some kind of bitterness from me. Well, I believe so much in immigration. I believe in its strength, and America is turning into an anti-immigrant state. after so long of the Statue of Liberty. You know, it's a beautiful thing. But hey, if it weren't for Nigerian diaspora, we wouldn't have Screwface Jean, right? One of the best hip hop commentators on YouTube. So I don't know. So there's enough of my political stuff there. The kind of political similarities, the political necessity of having figures like this respected and listened to. But what about the music, Sky, huh? I hate it when you talk politics. Just talk about music, bruh. I love it when I talk about politics and people say that I'm talking about white guilt. I was like, what? I'm just describing history. That's the problem. You can't describe history without it sounding like white guilt, because in general, when human beings have power, they abuse it. And throughout most of history, most of the people who have power sunburned in a snowstorm. It's not white guilt. It is just observing history. Anyways. This album is mostly produced by Quest Darko. I don't know his story, except that I like him a lot, and he does a lot of work with Slow Tie. Now, I love Slow Tie. I've reviewed, 2 or 3 of his albums. He was credibly, no, he was on trial for RAPIing people, one person. I don't know what it was, but he was found not guilty. So I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. It really bummed me out. Not guilty, so great. But yeah, anyways. So that's how I associate Quest Darko. His production on here is just so good. It's just so, there's so much rich instrumentation on here. There's so much, like, it's so cool because to start off as a kind of a hip hop producer and then get the chance to do something this lush and varied is beautiful. And all the themes on this album are all themes that I love and that you should love too. Self-care, self-love, lots of stuff about family, but especially his mother. Just a lot about his mother, his relationship to his mother. There's a lot of really kind of dark stuff about what appears to be a breakup. And he makes multiple okay, so the beginning of the album, he makes multiple references to being shot in the head. And at the end of the album, he talks about his mom a lot. I don't know what to do. I don't really know how to, like, define what that means, except to say that's interesting. For the most part, it's an album a lot like Little Simz is in the way that he's just sharing wisdom of failure, about how to make it through life, how to have a strong mind, strong bone, character, I think that's what he says, and trying to be forgiving of all human frailty, including his own. Impeccable production, multi-genre, all over the place. It's gonna be like you're probably gonna he's probably gonna be classified as rap and hip hop, and if you read his biography, like that's what got him into music. So awesome. I don't think there's any single thing on this album that could be defined as rap music, but because his story is so hip hop, like I don't know. So I don't know how this will be classified. But also, I don't care. Let's get to the first song. If you like what you see, smash the like bucket, subscribe. AVAA stands for awesome video, as always. What else do I say? Yeah, those are the main things. So let's just go to the first song. Let's just have you listen to the first song, okay? Click up there. Yeah. Did you notice I got a haircut? Not my barber's best work. It's okay. It always grows back, That's not why I'm crying. So click above the new placement of the bird feeder. My wife and I don't agree on where the bird feeder should be, but I'll give you a hint. That's where she thinks it should be. So the first song is called It's Time, and his voice is just beautiful. It's just an angelically beautiful, high voice. Kate Bush-like, okay? Like whatever that feeling is people get when they listen to Kate Bush, that like levitating feeling thingy, That's how I get listening to OBONGJAYAR. God damn, I hope I pronounce his name properly. There's no way that's a Y sound with the J, right? No, because there's a Y in his name. So it's not going to be OBONGJAYAR. That doesn't make sense. Or else right? So, okay. I'm just going to stick with OBONGJAYAR. If that's not it, I apologize. But beautiful voice over really tight percussion. Eventually, these like sequenced drums come in way behind the beat. It's beautiful. So many layers on this album. Just layers upon layers upon layers. Tiramisu time, I think it's time I pick up the pieces. That's the opening salvo. And that's what this album appears to be about. Picking up the pieces. After a breakup, after a tough time in life. The second verse, his voice is high, but not quite as high. You make me feel so small and of no consequence. I guess this is pop music. I guess. I guess you could call it pop music, but it's not pop music like what's her name? Kylie Minogue. It's just like it's pop music because it is great to listen to and it's not easy to put into any one genre. So many layers about forgiveness and growing and this breathy voice in the background. Just beautiful. Have a listen to it and just if you're like me, you're going to fall in love with it. Next song is called Life Ahead. That starts with the percussion of knocking on a door, you know? Like that's the percussion, the knocking on the door. More and more percussion gets added. The percussion on this album all the way through is great. Here it's given to create a sense of urgency. This is a really depressing song that has an urgent, urgent feeling. Why did you leave? You weren't here. Blood on my teeth, sand in my hair. I don't know how much more I can take. I'm on my way home, but I don't want to be. Staring down the barrel of a gun. Another year like a bullet shot me in the face. Standing at the altar of expectation. Life ahead is scary. We don't know where we're going. Oh. Yikes. Another year like a bullet shot me in the face. It's a good line. It's a good line. Standing at the altar of expectation. You know, what? What's the key to happiness? Appreciation. What's the key to sadness? Expectation. That's what it is. When you expect things to be better, when you expect things to go different ways, you know, you just gotta appreciate. I love my barber. I do. I love sitting down, talking with him. He's been going through some tough times. You know, he gives me wisdom. I give him wisdom. It's beautiful. I've never had a barber like that. I could just kind of like shoot the shit. So did he go too short on the sides? He did. But I got tons of cowlicks on my hair. So what can he do? You know, it's going to grow back, you know? So I could have let that ruin my life. Or I could just appreciate the fact that I basically feel like friends with my barber. Anyways, beautiful. Go ahead and with that smile for your mother like nothing's wrong. So the mother is introduced, and here it's the way that we lie to people. I'm depressed, everybody. I'm not depressed. I'm happy. I appreciate this, but I'm depressed because this is an album of such amazing high quality. And I never would have listened to it if I didn't get an email from a PR director who happened to have a last name that was a village in the same part of Yugoslavia where my wife lived. Right? Like there's so much good music that slips through my fingers, and I'm listening to music all the time. I'm trying to find good music all the time. It's got to be so hard to make it as an artist. If you can make music this good and not be able to afford a Rolls Royce, it sucks, you know? No, forget Rolls Royce. I just want him to be able to live a full. I mean, I think he probably does. I think he probably lives a life where he doesn't have to work. That's good. That's my main hope. My hope is that this is his only work. The guitar here is a little bit more explicitly African sounding, you know, sort of single notes plucked with vigor. Some searching bass and xylophone. Would never show you my true feelings. And go ahead with that smile for your mother like there's nothing wrong. The way that we perform for our family. Because that's the truth about a lot of people. Is they perform emotions for people who are supposed to be there for them. Beautiful song. Peace in Your Heart, kind of sketchy synthesizer, piano, more blood in my neck. Kind of a breakup song. You're killing an innocent man. I wish you peace in your heart. What a lyric. It's you're killing me, but I wish you peace. Beautiful idea. Holy Mountain, sort of like a disco drum beat with more of that kind of African guitar. I wasn't looking, but I found you. That you know that percussion thing, that ooh, 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 you know that what the hell's that thing called? Ooh, ooh, you know the thing like from White Lotus. Ooh, 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 you know that thing? It's got one of the. It's got one to go. Ooh, ooh. I'm sorry, I don't edit my videos, so you're just gonna have to hear me try to describe the percussion that goes. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, it's got some of that percussion. I like it. I really like that percussion, whatever that's called. You can tell me in the comments if you want. It seems to be like a religious song. Like that's like finding a holy mountain, but at the same time, it seems to be a love song. Like I want to grow a garden with you. I'm into gardening now, everybody. Middle age. It's underrated. Jellyfish, very distorted and cool, a lot more aggro, kind of reggae sounding. These like whiny descending synths, big mouth on my chest. I fuck the world with no rubber on. Turn me up, can't shut me up. Those are some rap lyrics, right? All my life, I want money and power, right? It's got that kind of like ego trip there. Too real for this world. If you put a gun to my head, then shoot me dead. This constant theme of that. I don't like it because, much like with some artists, like you just sort of feel like a sense of simpatico, a sort of sense of like togetherness. He's able to instill that with me. Then we get to the song that you're probably going to skip to, Talk Olympics, which I would not skip to, even though it's with Little Simz and it's a good song. It's perfect in the context of the album, but outside the context of the album, it's a little bit disorienting because it's so high energetic, so funny. It's the percussion here sounds like a dog having a nightmare. Roop, roop, man, making lots of sounds. Talk, 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 talk too much. Talk, 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 talk too much. No more talking, do the walking. You blame everybody. They'll solve the problem. Talk Olympics gold medalist. This is basically like that song by Run DMC. You talk too much. You never shut up. You talk too much, but you never shut up. But it's why not? I was at the gym. What movie was I watching? Oh, I was watching Terminator: Dark Fate. So it was okay. It's okay. So watching that movie, listening to this album, and I like, man, my my RPMs there were going off like. This song just got me going. There's so many different sounds here. There's like these crazy fast drums. I think there's the sound of James Brown going ha from the It Takes Two beat, the ha, just a little bit of that. And then when Simz comes in, there's like Alan Parsons style synthesizer behind, and she's got super strong, super accented. There's these like marching drum sounds. I was tempted to say, if you like Chromacopia, listen to this. And I might even put Tyler, the Creator, on the thumbnail of this because, I mean, just not just the marching band, but just that same kind of feeling of just like, how is this music so good and so sprawling and so varied? The next song is called Prayer, kind of slows down a bit, descending guitar, lots of the percussion. Thankfully not the because I can't make that sound anymore. Just really sweet singing and rumbling bass. God's song, Take Me Over. We need prayer. We need prayer. More, again, that kind of African style guitar. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful, nice kind of down moment after the rest of this album after the previous song being so up. Then we get to Moon Eyes, simple guitar line and bongos. It seems to be about someone. My flaws are many, my scars are heavy, took down my armor so delicately. Hey, it reminds me of that song by Black Country New Road, another great British band. Which song was that? The Take Off My Armor. Anyways, you know the one. What did I do to deserve you? I want to thank OBONGJAYAR because I feel like you should say that to your partner a lot. And I used to say that more to my partner than I do now. So I took that chance to just now, a couple times since I started listening to this album, I just say, what did I do to deserve you? Because, when you're in a good relationship, what's the key to happiness, everybody? Appreciation. What did I do to deserve you? What did I do to deserve you? Like each syllable is being clapped on. There's so many little... this video is already pretty long, but there's already so many little tiny production decisions. Sweet Danger is the absolute banger of the album. This crazy, awesome groove. Just 2 chords, but just, oh my God, does it find this groove. So many layers. I was dancing. So... I was listening to this album with my daughter yesterday. I made her some parfait like I do every day. Whole milk Greek yogurt, unsweetened muesli, and blueberries. And she goes, no, Poppy, no dance, eat. But like, you just can't stop dancing. Like, you hear this song and you just got to dance. And it's a little bit at odds with the previous song because it's like, I'm a bad man. It's like a one-man stand song. And the previous song was like, you're so holy and I love you, but whatever. Then we get to another banger, Not in Surrender, super funky. This is like Michael Jackson, Daft Punk style groove. The bass is plucked with a pick. These really tight compressed drums. Girl, you keep me up all night. This is maybe more in that previous line, the kind of like sexy time. But I stopped taking notes when I first listened because I got lost in the music. And that's a really good sign. And then we get to Instant Animal. What is going on, OBONGJAYAR? Where did this song come from? These single guitar notes kind of sounds like a rough cowboy style music. And then these really funky drums and this really raspy voice. Sounds like Nick Nolte. Look at me now, I'm a killer. Look at me now, I'm a sharp blade. just, just really killer. And then there's this instrumental bit where there's so many drums going on. I had to write down the name. Everybody, put respect on the name of Benjamin James Chukwudi, Chukwudi. I don't know where he's from. I don't know who he is, but this is some of the best drumming I've heard all year. My Smile is a Distant Memory, sad song. And then it basically becomes like a King Gizzard and a Lizard Wizard jam. Seriously, that's what it sounds like. It's that good of a jam. Like, I'm just into it, just the drum and the piano and the bass, and I'm just like totally into it. I'm at the Red Rocks tripping balls with all of the giz heads, right? And it's in the middle of a British Nigerian rap inspired pop album. Amazing. Next song is called Strongbone, about the character from the Jeff Smith cartoon series. I get one joke. I spent it on that. Bad one. Heavier accent here, almost like a Spanish guitar. Beat the game with the cards I was given. Won't let the bastards stop me. I'm a hustler survivor. And it's a really empowering song about having a strong bone, like having like a sense of like strength and fortitude. And then we get to the song that made me cry, Born in This Body. Nice, small piano and bongos. Okay, so I assumed this song about feeling ugly was going to be put in the context of the ways in which the Eurocentric standards of beauty are so oppressive to those who are not white, that often makes people feel ugly just by the way that they were born, especially if one is in a like a different if one's in a different country where one's a minority, and that can be a very alienating feeling. So that's what I thought it was about, or was going to be about. But then it wasn't about that. As far as I can tell, this is just about feeling ugly. This is just about feeling like you are ugly. And this chorus, ask my mummy, I was born in this body. I'm in love with this body. I don't know. So the deep lore drop is like, I legitimately started therapy. I restarted therapy again because of my self-image, because I've just been fighting it my whole life. You know, I've been fighting it my whole life, like eating disorders and thinking I'm fat and like self-hatred and stuff like that. I don't know. I've just been fighting it my whole life, and I've struggled with it, and I've made it through, and I've been okay. But finally, I just said, fuck it. I don't care. I'm almost 50 years old. I just want to ride out the rest of my life loving my body, right? And the reason the song made me cry, it's because it's like a handsome young dude. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a handsome young guy who listen to these lyrics. What do it mean to be beautiful? What do it mean to be the right size? I post a pic for the digital, if only they could see what's in my mind. 6 years old, standing in the front room, told my grandma I'm ugly. She sat me down with a smile on her face, said you're worried about the wrong things. Like, that's true. His grandmother was right, but that doesn't fix the problem. It's like a really terrible feeling. And the thing is that men feel this way too. Strong men also cry, Mr. Lebowski. Do my tears surprise you? You know, like it's a real problem. And obviously, because of patriarchy, women feel this way more often because, frankly, the system wants them to feel that way to sell them more makeup and diet plans, right? But there are a lot of us out there. There are a lot of men out there who suffer with this kind of pain. And the way that he sings this, ask my mommy, I'm in love with this body. It's like it helps me to understand the way a lot of women feel when they listen to music, and it helps them to feel empowered by something that's been making them feel hurt, you know? And it's just this guy, and I never would have listened to his music. Even though he was on the Danny Brown project, even though he's on Little Simz, I wouldn't listen to it because there's too much stuff to listen to. And here I am finding what I think is the first song I've ever heard that deeply connects to a very deep sense of pain that I am actively working on right now. I have to say, my mom was not super helpful on that. I didn't really get many talks when I became a teenager, but one night she sat me down. I must have been 10 or 11 years old. And this was her version of like the talk. She said, Sky, just so you know, as you grow up, you're going to have greasy hair and wide hips. Good night. So that didn't help. I don't know what she was trying. I think she was trying to help me feel better. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Ma. I think she was like trying to like set my expectations so that when I was as ugly as I was going to be, I wasn't surprised, so it would hurt less. Anyways, you can laugh. It's okay. Just My Luck, kind of an 80s pop song, high voice, Daft Punk guitar, more stuff about his mom. I used to cry a lot. I lost my mind. I couldn't find it. I was dying. And my mummy said, settle down, stop being a baby, cut it out. Time is wasting. Don't need a crowd to set yourself on fire. So I like it, right? It's more talking about how his mom's giving him some wisdom about learning how to be alone. Then the album ends, right, with Happy Head, the bass and the words saying gently, you know, it's not your fault, you know, holding it together. This is kind of epic. It's about kind of slowing down. Slow down, you're burning out. Can't be everything at the same time. Slow down, you're burning out. You truly are your mother's child. Slow down, you're burning out. And make your head happy. A great chugging beat at the end and just gives this whole vista. This whole album just has this whole picture of this person who's trying to figure out how to have a strong bone, how to love their body, how to have a happy head, how to reconcile the terrible things that have just happened to them and the things that have happened to them throughout their life, figuring out how to be present, how to be happy. I don't know what else you want from music. This is what I want. If people say, Sky, what do you want from music? I will say, and I'm not saying like perfect 10 or whatever. I'm not saying it's like my favorite album of all time, but this is what I want from music. I want Paradise Now by OBONGJAYAR, provided that's how you say his name. All right. Hope you all enjoyed. I want to keep... I'm stuck here, everybody, because lesser known artists, I usually try to keep the videos shorter so that more people might check it out. But everyone's a liar. No one's checking it out. So I want to make a full video for you, the real ones. So thank you for being a real one. There's the camera.